It was a cool morning in downtown Los Angeles, the kind where the air feels fresh and the sky looks clear after a light rain. She stood at the side gate of the studio, holding a duffel bag that moved slightly now and then. Her name was Eliza, a quiet woman in her mid-20s, soft-spoken, with big glasses and a nervous smile. She wasn't a big star or even part of the main crew. She was just a part-time animal handler, working today because they needed cats. For a commercial scene, inside her duffel bag was Luna, her rescued cat, a small silver-furred creature with bright green eyes. Luna wasn't a trained animal actor, but she was calm around people most of the time. Eliza hoped today would go well. She had brought Luna not just to help with the shoot, but also to try her luck, hoping someone might notice her effort and maybe offer more animal work in the future. She waited near the crew vans, feeling out of place as makeup artists, camera operators, and assistants passed by quickly with walkie-talkies and coffee cups. Everyone seemed to know where they were going. Everyone looked busy, important. She adjusted her scarf nervously and looked around. Then the whispers began. A small group of people near the lot entrance stopped and turned toward the black SUV that had just pulled in. One of them whispered excitedly, "It's him." And Eliza's heart skipped. She turned too, peeking between shoulders. Keanu Reeves stepped out of the SUV, dressed in a simple black jacket and jeans. His face was calm, quiet like the morning itself. He nodded politely to the crew, shaking hands and offering small smiles. He looked exactly as she had seen in interviews, kind, peaceful, and somehow different from other celebrities. He walked through the lot without bodyguards, just a studio staff member at his side. Every step he took was careful but natural. As he passed, people greeted him with soft hellos, and he answered every one of them with respect. Eliza couldn't help staring. She had seen celebrities from afar, but this felt different. Keanu looked straight ahead but glanced briefly her way. She quickly looked down, cheeks warm. Her duffel moved again, and a soft mraw came from inside. Luna was waking up. Eliza bent down to unzip the bag just a little. She whispered, "It's okay, girl. Just a few more minutes." The assistant director called out, "Animal talent over here, please." Eliza stood up quickly and joined the small group near the side stage. There were 3 other cats and 2 handlers, but Eliza could already tell her Luna was the smallest and the most unpredictable. Scene 3, commercial pan shot with cat. On the table, Keanu enters from the left, someone said over the intercom. Eliza moved closer to the edge of the set. They hadn't told her if Luna would be used today or not. She kept the bag close, hoping Luna would stay calm with all the new sounds and smells. But something strange began to happen. As Keanu came closer to where the cats were being prepared, Luna began to shift restlessly. Her ears twitched. Her tail thumped against the inside of the bag. Eliza noticed the change immediately. She bent over, trying to whisper calm words. "Luna, baby, it's okay, just stay still." But Luna didn't calm down. Instead, she let out a long, low growl. It surprised Eliza. Luna almost never growled. Keanu walked past again, and this time, Luna started to scratch at the bag's zipper. Eliza gently held it closed, but her hands were shaking now. Why was Luna acting like this? What had set her off? A moment later, Keanu stopped to talk to one of the cat handlers about the upcoming scene. He looked toward Eliza, gave her a kind nod, and smiled at her bag. "Got a little tiger in there?" he asked. Eliza opened her mouth to answer, but before she could speak, the bag burst open. Luna flew out like a silver bullet, claws flashing. It happened so fast, no one even had time to scream. Luna leaped forward and swiped at the nearest thing. She saw Keanu's forearm. A sharp yelp came from the crew, and Keanu stepped back with surprise, holding up his scratched arm. The set went silent. Everyone froze. Eliza rushed forward, her heart pounding in her chest. She grabbed Luna and wrapped her tightly in her jacket. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry," she kept saying over and over. Keanu looked at his arm. It wasn't too bad. Just 3 red lines, but the crew looked tense. One assistant director was already calling for first aid. Another for security. I don't know what happened. Eliza stammered. She's never done that before. Keanu looked at her, then down at the shaking ball of fur in her arms. It's okay, he said softly. She was probably scared. I'm all right. Eliza couldn't believe it. He wasn't angry, not even upset, just calm, kind like he really meant it. But deep down, something felt off. Luna's reaction, her growl, her sudden attack, none of it made sense. Eliza stood there, frozen, holding her cat, shaking and embarrassed. While Keanu Reeves, the man her cat had just scratched, smiled at her gently, as if telling her, "Don't worry, there's more going on than you think." And that was the moment everything changed, though she didn't know it yet. Something was coming, something she would soon discover, and it would shock her more than anything else in her life. Eliza sat on a low wooden bench behind the set, her arms wrapped tightly around Luna. The cat had finally stopped struggling, but her body was tense, her eyes still wide and wild, tail flicking left and right. Eliza could feel her heart racing just as fast. She kept whispering to Luna, "It's okay, it's over, I've got you." But her own hands were shaking. She couldn't stop thinking about what had just happened. Her cat, her sweet, quiet Luna, had attacked Keanu Reeves. The Keanu Reeves, he had been nothing but kind, gentle even when he got scratched. And yet Luna had reacted like she was fighting for her life. People on the set were whispering, glancing her way. She could hear bits and pieces of conversation. "Did you see that cat? She came out of nowhere. Is Keanu okay?" Eliza felt sick, embarrassed, and confused. The first aid team had checked Keanu's arm. He was fine, just a scratch, and he had smiled and waved off the attention. But Eliza knew the real problem wasn't just the scratch, something deeper was wrong. She thought back to the last few weeks. Luna had been acting a little different lately, more alert. Sometimes pacing at night, sometimes growling at doors or shadows. But she had assumed it was just a new home, new sounds, nothing serious. Still, the way Luna reacted today only to Keanu was something else. It was like she had sensed something Eliza couldn't see. The assistant director walked over with a clipboard and a tight face. "You're not in trouble," he said, "but we'll need to talk to you before the next shoot. Just standard stuff." Eliza nodded quickly. "Of course I understand," she said, trying to sound calm. "Maybe give the cat some rest," he added, glancing nervously at Luna. "She looks tense." Eliza offered a fake smile and stood up, walking slowly toward the break area. Her legs felt heavy, her mind spinning with questions. She sat under a shady tree, trying to settle her thoughts. Luna curled into a small ball on her lap. Still alert but no longer growling, Eliza gently stroked her back. "What happened to you?" she whispered. "Why him? Why only him?" And that's when she heard a soft voice. "She's protective of you." Eliza looked up and froze. It was Keanu, standing a few feet away with his arm now bandaged in white gauze. He wasn't angry. He looked curious, even concerned. I'm so sorry," she said quickly, standing up. "I don't know why she did that. She's never hurt anyone before. I understand if you want me off the set." Keanu raised his hand gently. No, it's all right, really. I've had worse from fans," he joked with a soft chuckle. "But I think your cat saw something none of us did." Eliza blinked, confused. "What do you mean?" He shrugged. "Animals are like that, especially cats. They feel things, not just sounds or smells. But people too." She hesitated. "You think she was trying to protect me?" Keanu nodded slowly. Maybe she felt fear, not hers, but yours. Eliza didn't know what to say. She looked down at Luna, who now looked calm, like nothing had happened. "Do you get nervous around people?" he asked kindly. She nodded without thinking. "All the time," he smiled. "So does your cat, apparently." There was a pause, long and quiet but comfortable. Eliza finally said, "It's just, I brought her here hoping to prove I could do this job. I really care about animals. I'm not great with people. You're doing fine, Keanu said gently. Sometimes it's the quiet ones who are strongest. They don't shout, they act. That made her smile a little. For a moment, she forgot the panic, the embarrassment, even the cameras. But still, she added nervously, she shouldn't have scratched you. Maybe there's something wrong with her. I should take her to the vet. Keanu shook his head. Don't assume she's broken just because she reacted to something real. Maybe she just saw more than we did. Eliza thought about that for a while. Luna wasn't violent, not in any way. Maybe Keanu was right. Maybe her cat had picked up on something no one else could. Anyway, Keanu said, stepping back, I need to shoot one more scene, but take care of her and yourself. Will, Eliza replied softly, watching him walk away. That short conversation stayed in her mind like a slow song. Luna had never acted like this with anyone before, and Keanu hadn't blamed her or judged her. Instead, he had seen something else in it, something meaningful. As the sun moved higher in the sky, Eliza sat quietly, her hand resting on Luna's back. Her heart still beat fast, but not from fear anymore. Something strange had happened, yes, but not something bad. And somewhere deep inside, a small part of her started to wonder. Was it possible Luna had sensed a truth no one had seen yet? Was there more to Keanu's calm smile and gentle words? She didn't have answers, not yet, but the story was far from over. The next day, Eliza woke up early, but she hadn't really slept all night. She kept thinking about what happened on the set, Luna's strange behavior, the sudden attack, and Keanu's calm and kind response. It all felt like a dream, one she couldn't stop replaying in her mind. She sat on the couch with Luna in her lap, gently brushing her soft silver fur. Luna looked peaceful now, as if nothing strange had ever happened. Eliza sighed and looked out the window. Sunlight spilling into her small apartment. Today she had to go back to the studio. They had called her last night, asking her to come in for a short meeting. Not a punishment, they said, just a follow-up. But her stomach felt tight with worry. What if they didn't want her back again? What if they thought she was careless? Or what if Luna's behavior was a warning, and she had missed something important? At the studio, everything looked the same, but Eliza felt different. She held Luna's travel bag close to her chest as she walked past the trailers and crews setting up lights and cameras. A few people looked at her, not with anger, but curiosity. Some even smiled at her. One guy said, "Your cat's a legend now." But she just gave a nervous nod. A woman in a gray suit waved her over. "Eliza, come with me, please." They walked into a small meeting room where a couple of people from the studio sat, including the assistant director and a woman from safety and legal. Eliza's hands were sweating. She sat down and tried to stay calm. "We just want to go over yesterday's incident," the assistant director said kindly. "We know it wasn't your fault, and Mr. Reeves didn't file any complaint. In fact, he praised your professionalism." Eliza's eyes widened. He did? The woman in gray nodded. "Yes, he told us you handled the situation with care." "That speaks well of you." Eliza relaxed a little, but the woman continued. "However, there are still some things we need to discuss. Your cat Luna was not on the approved animal list for this shoot. We have to follow safety guidelines. And unfortunately, Luna's paperwork wasn't submitted through the right process." Eliza's heart dropped. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to break any rules. I thought she'd be okay." The woman gave a soft smile. "We understand it's a common mistake. You're not in trouble, but moving forward, we'll need proper documentation if you want to bring her on set again." Eliza nodded quickly. "Yes, of course. I'll get everything in order." As the meeting ended, Eliza felt a mix of relief and guilt. She had been lucky, very lucky, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was going on. Later that afternoon, she stayed behind to help clean up the set. The crew was shooting indoor scenes now, and the animal scenes were done for the day. Keanu wasn't around, or at least she didn't see him. But something else caught her attention. While packing some blankets near the lighting rig, Eliza overheard two sound engineers talking in hushed voices. "I'm telling you," one said. There was a weird sound just before the cat jumped. Like a high-pitched tone, almost like, "I don't know, some kind of signal." The other guy frowned. "You think someone set it off?" "I don't know. But animals react to things we can't hear, right? Dogs, cats." "Maybe she heard something." Eliza paused, heart beating faster. She moved closer and asked softly, "Excuse me. Did you say there was a sound before Luna jumped?" The first guy looked surprised. "Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know for sure. I was wearing headphones. But I thought I heard something strange in the mic feed." The second guy added, "Could have been interference or static. We were near the backup frequency line." Eliza frowned. "Is that normal?" They shrugged. "Not really, but it happens. Sometimes could be a glitch." She thanked them and walked away slowly, thinking hard. Could Luna have reacted to something they couldn't hear? Some strange sound or frequency that made her feel scared or attacked? That night, back at home, Eliza sat at her desk and opened her laptop. She searched online for cats reacting to high-pitched sounds and found article after article about how sensitive animals are to frequencies outside human hearing. Some sounds can make them feel pain, fear, or even panic. She looked over at Luna, who was now sleeping peacefully on her windowsill. What if she hadn't attacked because of fear, but because of pain, because something invisible had hurt her? The more Eliza read, the more questions she had. Was it an accident? A malfunctioning speaker? Or something else? Then a new thought hit her. What if it wasn't just Luna who felt something that day? What if that sound had a purpose? She remembered Keanu's words from yesterday. Maybe she felt fear, not hers but yours. What if Luna had felt something coming, not from the outside, but from someone close by? Suddenly, the incident didn't feel so simple anymore. Eliza looked out the window at the quiet street below, her fingers resting on Luna's soft fur. She didn't know what was happening yet, but something strange was going on, and she was now part of it, whether she liked it or not. The next morning, Eliza felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. Something didn't feel normal about what had happened. It wasn't just Luna's attack. It was the timing, the strange sound, and the way Keanu had reacted, not surprised, but calm, like he had seen this kind of thing before. Eliza made a fresh cup of tea and sat down with her notebook. She wrote down everything she remembered, every detail, even the little ones. The strange behavior before Luna jumped, the sound the audio guy mentioned, the way people on set had looked around like they sensed something too. She wrote one question and circled it. Was Luna protecting me or warning me? Later that day, she received a message on her phone. It was from an unknown number, but the message was short and clear. Meet me in front of the Studio K at 3 p.m. Come alone. I'll explain what you saw. Her heart skipped a beat. Who would send that? Was it a joke? But something deep inside told her it was real. Someone else knew there was more to the story. At 3 p.m. She stood nervously in front of the small cafe beside the studio, holding a coffee cup with both hands. People walked past her, chatting, laughing, but she kept scanning faces. Then she saw him, a man in a dark blue hoodie, sunglasses on, holding a black notebook. He walked over slowly, stopped near her, and said softly, "I'm not supposed to talk, but you deserve to know." Eliza looked at him with wide eyes. "Know what?" He glanced around, then whispered, "Do you know why Luna attacked him?" She shook her head. "No. I don't even understand it myself." He leaned closer, his voice very low. "Because she sensed something that wasn't a normal day. That sound you heard? It wasn't random." Eliza was frozen. "Who are you?" He ignored the question. 3 months ago, a different animal handler brought a trained dog onto set. The dog acted the same way, snapped at Keanu, growled like it was in danger. "What?" Eliza whispered. But he's a good person. He's so kind." "I believe that too," the man replied. but something's happening around him lately. Animals are acting strange. Electronics glitch when he walks by, even some crew members have had nosebleeds after working close to him for days. Eliza felt her body grow cold. That doesn't make sense. The man looked her in the eyes. Serious now. He's hiding something, or someone is hiding it for him. He pulled out a small memory stick from his pocket and handed it to her. Watch this, but don't tell anyone, and don't trust everything you see. Before she could ask more, he walked away quickly, disappeared. Into the crowd, Eliza stood there, shaking. Her hands tightened around the memory stick. She didn't know what to do next, but she had to find out what was going on. That night, in her small apartment, with Luna curled up beside her, she plugged the memory stick into her laptop. There were 3 short video clips inside. The first was raw behind-the-scenes footage from a different film set. The camera focused on Keanu walking toward the crew. In the corner of the screen, a cat in a cage suddenly started screaming like it had seen death. People ran. To calm it down, the animal handler looked terrified. The second clip was security footage, Keanu entering a building. As he passed under a flickering light, the bulb exploded without anyone touching it. Sparks flew, and he didn't even flinch. He kept walking like nothing had happened. The third clip was the scariest. It showed a recording from an interview room. Keanu sitting quietly, alone. A glass of water on the table in front of him began to shake slightly, even though the room was still. After a few seconds, the water swirled, like something was moving inside it. His eyes remained calm, too calm, then without moving his hands. The glass slid an inch toward him, on its own. Eliza leaned back in her chair, hand over her mouth. She didn't want to believe it. It didn't make sense. How could someone like Keanu, famous for being kind and peaceful, have something this strange around him? Luna let out a soft meow and rubbed against Eliza's leg. Bringing her back to the moment, she picked her up and held her close. If animals sense danger, if they reacted to something deep inside people, then Luna hadn't been angry. She had been scared, and maybe she had been right to be. Eliza now had proof something very unusual was going on, and somehow she had been pulled into it. She stared at the screen, the clips replaying in her mind. Who was Keanu Reeves really? And what secret was he carrying without the world knowing? One thing was clear, this wasn't just about a cat scratching a celebrity anymore. It was about something hidden, powerful, and possibly dangerous. And Eliza was standing right in the middle of it. Eliza didn't sleep at all that night. The videos from the memory stick kept playing in her head. Again and again, she saw the glass moving, the light bulb exploding, and the animals panicking around Keanu. Her mind was full of questions, and her chest felt heavy with fear. She sat by the window in her small apartment, watching the early morning sky turn pale orange. Luna was sleeping peacefully on the sofa, like nothing was wrong. But Eliza knew something was very wrong. She kept whispering to herself, "What's happening? What do I do now?" By the time the sun rose, Eliza had made a decision. She needed to talk to Keanu again, not just to thank him for being kind, but to find the truth. Maybe he knew what was going on, maybe he didn't, but either way, she had to ask. Later that day, she went back to the studio. She wasn't scheduled for work, but she had kept her ID badge. She dressed simply, tied her hair back, and tried to look calm, even though her hands were shaking. At the security gate, the guard looked at her badge and gave a nod. "You're back already?" She smiled, just dropping something off for the animal team. He waved her in without checking, and she walked through the lot, heart pounding. The set was quieter today. Some filming had moved indoors, and there were fewer people around. Eliza found one of the assistant producers and asked carefully, "Is Mr. Reeves on set today?" The woman replied, "Yeah, but he's in the back studio, rehearsing." Eliza thanked her and started walking in that direction. Each step felt heavier. The more she thought about the videos, the more nervous she became. What if he wasn't who everyone thought he was? What if the kind face he showed was just a mask? She reached the studio door and stood there, unsure. Then she heard a voice behind her. Calm and warm, Eliza. She turned, and there he was, Keanu Reeves, standing just a few feet away, holding a cup of tea. Wearing a black t-shirt and jeans, he smiled gently. Didn't expect to see you again so soon. Eliza opened her mouth but didn't know what to say. Finally, she asked softly, "Can we talk? Just for a few minutes?" Keanu looked at her face, saw the worry in her eyes, and nodded. "Sure." They walked to a quiet corner behind the set where a few folding chairs sat near some stacked boxes. He sat down and offered her a seat. For a moment, she just stared at the ground, holding the memory stick in her hand. Then she said, "Someone gave me this," and handed it to him. He looked at it, then back at her. "Do you know what's on it?" She nodded. "Yes, I saw the videos. I saw what happened with the cat, the lights, the glass." There was a long silence, then Keanu sighed and looked away. "I was hoping no one would find out," he said quietly. Eliza felt her heart sink. "So it's true? You can do things?" Keanu nodded slowly. "Yes, but I don't always control it. It started a few years ago, after an accident. I was injured badly. I should have died." Eliza leaned in, listening closely. "I was in a hospital," he continued, "hooked up to machines. I was in a coma for weeks, and then something changed inside me. When I woke up, I started noticing strange things. Lights would flicker when I was upset. Animals would avoid me. I could feel people's emotions, even hear thoughts sometimes." Eliza gasped softly. "Like a power?" "I don't call it that," he said. "It's more like a curse. It scares people. That's why I hide it." Eliza's voice was low. "But why didn't you tell anyone? Why keep it a secret?" "Because the world doesn't forgive what it doesn't understand," he said. "They'd stop hiring me. They'd fear me. I'd become a story, not a person." Eliza was quiet, thinking. "But Luna, she attacked you because she felt it, right?" Keanu nodded. "Yes, animals are pure. They sense what people ignore." For a while, neither of them spoke. Then Eliza looked at him and asked, "Do you ever use it to hurt people?" His eyes met hers, steady and clear. "No, never. That's why I stay calm, why I meditate. I've learned to control it, but it's not always perfect." Eliza took a deep breath. "I believe you." He looked surprised. "You do?" She smiled softly. "Luna trusts me, and if she reacted, it was because she felt something she couldn't explain. But now that I know, it makes sense. I don't think you're dangerous. Just different." Keanu nodded, looking relieved. "Thank you. That means more than you know." Before she left, he handed the memory stick back to her. "Keep this safe. You never know who's watching." As Eliza walked away from the studio, she felt something new inside her, not fear, but understanding. The truth was heavy. Yes, but it wasn't evil. Keanu Reeves had a secret, one that few would believe, but she had seen it, felt it, and somehow, she had become part of it. And in that moment, she knew one thing for sure. This was just the beginning. Eliza didn't tell anyone what she had learned. Not her friends, not the studio people, not even the man in the blue hoodie. She kept it all inside Keanu's secret, the strange videos, and the things she now understood. For a few days, everything seemed calm. The studio called her back for another animal handling job, this time for a different ad shoot. Luna stayed at home this time. Eliza didn't want to risk anything again, but even as she tried to go back to normal, something didn't feel right. She kept looking over her shoulder. Her phone had strange signals, sometimes calls dropping, apps freezing, and one night, her apartment lights flickered for no reason. She told herself it was just her imagination. Maybe she was just tired, overthinking everything. But deep inside, she felt watched. Then one evening, someone knocked on her door. Not a normal knock. It was firm, slow, and repeated 3 times. She walked to the door carefully. Luna followed her, tail high and alert. Eliza didn't open it. Right away, she looked through the peephole. 2 men stood outside in black jackets. They weren't delivery people, not neighbors. Their expressions were cold, serious. "Miss Eliza Monroe?" One of them called. "We'd like to speak with you about some private footage you may have received." Her heart dropped. She stepped back from the door, whispering to herself, "They found out." The memory stick Keanu's videos was hidden in a small box in her closet. She had watched it only once more since that day with him, but someone had tracked it. Eliza didn't open the door. She stayed silent, hoping they'd leave. After a minute, one of the men said, "We know you're in there. This is a sensitive matter. If you cooperate, no harm will come to you," she whispered to Luna. "Hide." And the cat darted under the couch. Eliza grabbed her phone, fingers shaking, and texted only one word to the number Keanu had given her just in case. "Help then." She turned off the lights and waited. The men stayed outside for a while, but didn't force their way in. After several minutes, she heard them walk away. Their footsteps faded into the night, but her fear didn't. 15 minutes later, her phone lit up with a message. "Don't open the door. Stay away from windows. Someone is on the way." She held the phone tightly, heart racing. She peeked through the curtain, but the street was empty, no cars, no people. Then, out of the silence, headlights appeared. A dark SUV pulled up quickly but quietly. A man stepped out tall, in a black coat and hat. He walked to her door and knocked twice. Fast, then once slow, the signal Keanu had told her to expect. Eliza opened the door with shaking hands. The man looked at her and said, "He sent me. We don't have much time. They'll come back with others." She grabbed her bag, stuffed Luna's carrier with a blanket and snacks, and followed him into the SUV. Inside the vehicle, everything smelled clean and new. The man drove fast but smoothly. No music, no talking, only the soft hum of the road. Finally, Eliza asked, "Who were those men?" He answered, "People who don't want the truth to come out. They work for a group that monitors abnormal energy. They've been tracking Keanu for a while. You were added to the list when you received the footage." Eliza felt sick. "So I'm in danger now?" He nodded. "Yes, but you're not alone." After a long drive through back roads, they reached a cabin in the hills. The place looked quiet, old but safe. Inside, Eliza found Keanu waiting by a small fire. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept in days. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "I thought I could protect you by staying silent, but I was wrong." Eliza sat across from him, holding Luna close. "Why are they after you?" He stared into the fire. "Because I survived something I wasn't supposed to. I don't just have strange energy inside me. There's something in my blood now, something they want to study, control, maybe even use," Eliza whispered. "That's why animals react to you. Why Luna attacked." He nodded slowly. "I've been running from it, hiding behind movies and cameras. But the truth always finds a way." The man who drove her spoke next. "We need to disappear for a while. They won't stop, not until they get what they want." Eliza looked at Luna, calm again in her lap, and said quietly, "Then we disappear." Keanu smiled, just a little. "You're brave, Eliza." She smiled back. "No, just scared enough to know what matters." And just like that, her old life ended. The quiet animal handler, the shy girl, behind the scenes, was now part of something much bigger, something powerful, dangerous, and full of secrets. But she wasn't running alone anymore. She was running with the one person who held the truth, and together they were going to protect it no matter what. The cabin in the hills became their safe place, far from the cameras, noise, and people who watched from the shadows. The wind outside whistled through tall pine trees and inside the wooden walls. Everything was quiet, almost too quiet. Eliza sat near the fire, holding a warm mug in her hands. Luna was curled up beside her, peaceful as ever. Across from her, Keanu sat in deep thought, his hands resting on his knees. His eyes were focused on the flames, but his mind seemed far away. She finally spoke. "Do you think they'll find us here?" Keanu looked up. Eventually, they always do. The man who had driven them there, who now introduced himself as Daniel, walked in from outside. brushing snow from his coat. "We have 2 days, maybe 3 before they track this location. You both need to be ready to move again." Eliza's voice shook. "I don't know how to live like this, always hiding, always afraid." Daniel placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You're stronger than you think." That night, Keanu sat with Eliza and told her everything, more than he ever had before. He spoke slowly, carefully choosing his words. "I was in a crash. A real bad one," he said. "They told me I died for a few minutes. But then I came back. When I woke up, I wasn't the same. My senses were sharper, my thoughts faster, but also louder. I could hear people's feelings, sense their pain. Even before they said anything." Eliza listened closely. "And the energy? The things moving, lights flickering?" He nodded. "It's like something inside me wants to get out, like a storm I have to hold back all the time. If I lose control, things around me react," she whispered. "But you never hurt anyone." "No," he said firmly. "Never. I've trained my mind every day since then to keep it quiet, calm. That's why I act. That's why I live so simply. It helps me stay balanced." Eliza was quiet for a moment, then said, "I believe you, and I'll help however I can." The next day, Daniel showed them a secret tunnel behind the cabin that led through the forest. "If anything happens, this is your way out, but remember, you'll have to travel by foot through rough land, no roads, no signals." Eliza nodded, memorizing every word. That evening, they heard a sound in the distance, far but unmistakable. A low rumble, like engines. "They're close," Daniel said, grabbing a small backpack. "We have to go now." Eliza scooped Luna into her carrier and slung it over her shoulder. Keanu grabbed a coat and flashlight. They moved quickly but quietly, heading into the forest through the tunnel. It was dark, the only light coming from Keanu's flashlight. And the moon above. The ground was uneven, the trees tall and cold. But they didn't stop. Hours passed and their legs grew tired. Eliza's hands were numb from the cold, but she kept walking. Luna stayed silent, sensing the fear in the air. Suddenly, Keanu stopped and held up his hand. "Wait." They all stood still, listening. Then footsteps. Behind them, fast and heavy. Daniel whispered, "Go, I'll hold them off." "No," Keanu said firmly. "We stay together." But Daniel looked at him with a sad smile. "You have something they want. I don't. I'll slow them down." Before Keanu could argue, Daniel turned and ran the other way, shouting and crashing through the trees to draw attention. Eliza's eyes filled with tears. "He's risking his life for us." Keanu gently took her hand. "We keep moving. It's what he wants." They kept going, faster now, guided by the stars and moonlight. After hours of walking, they reached a small cave hidden by thick bushes. Keanu helped Eliza inside, and they sat close together for warmth. Luna curled between them, purring softly, a small comfort in the middle of chaos. Eliza whispered, "Do you think Daniel will be okay?" Keanu stared into the darkness. "I hope so." The next morning, sunlight slipped through cracks in the cave's opening. Eliza woke to the sound of birds, and for a moment, it felt like everything was normal again. But then she remembered where they were, why they were hiding, and the truth came rushing back. Keanu sat near the entrance, watching the woods silently. Eliza joined him, and after a few minutes said, "I don't want to run forever. There has to be another way." Keanu nodded slowly. "There is, but it's dangerous." She turned to him. "What is it?" He looked her in the eyes. "Let them find me. Let me show the world the truth, not through fear, but through trust." Eliza shook her head. "They'll take you. They'll hurt you." "I know," he said. "But if I keep hiding, they'll never stop hunting. They'll find more people, hurt more lives. I can't let that happen." Eliza's heart ached. "So what do we do?" He placed his hand gently on hers. "We tell the truth, together." And in that moment, surrounded by forest, cold air, and fear, a new strength rose inside her. She knew the fight wasn't over, but now, she was ready to stand beside him. No. Matter what came next, Eliza stood near the edge of the forest, looking down at the city lights far below. It felt strange to be this close to the world again, after so many days hiding, running, and fearing every sound. The city looked almost peaceful, but she knew better now. Beside her, Keanu stood silent, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He looked calm, but Eliza could feel the tension in him, like something was building deep inside. They had made their choice. They were not going to run anymore. They would face the truth, no matter what happened. A few hours earlier, they had received a message on a secure channel from Daniel. He was alive but injured. He had managed to lose the agents following them. But barely. His message was clear. They know where you are. They're coming. You have maybe 2 hours. Decide what you want to do. I'll help from the outside. Eliza had looked at Keanu and said, "We do this on our terms." Now as they walked down the narrow path that led to a hidden studio building Daniel once used for private work, Eliza felt her heartbeat rise. They had decided to make a video one that would reveal everything, not just Keanu's powers, but the truth about the people chasing them. Inside the small building, Keanu sat in front of a camera. Eliza set it up, testing the mic and lights. Luna sat in a corner, alert but calm. Eliza hit record, and the camera's red light blinked. Keanu took a deep breath and began. "My name is Keanu Reeves. I'm known as an actor, a public figure, a man who tries to live quietly. But today, I'm going to share something I've kept hidden for years." He spoke slowly, honestly, with no fear. He talked about the accident that changed him, the things he could do, the energy inside him that moved objects, affected animals, and even touched people's thoughts. He spoke about how he had tried to control it, to live normally, but certain groups had found out. Powerful people who wanted to use him as a weapon, or lock him away as a threat. He looked directly into the camera. "I am not a danger to the world, but I am different, and I believe the world should know the truth." Not in fear, but with open eyes. When he finished, Eliza turned off the camera. Her hands trembled. "Now what?" she whispered. "We send it," Keanu said. "To everyone, to the media, to the people, to the world." Daniel helped from a distance, using encrypted tools to spread the video across major platforms. Within minutes, it started appearing everywhere. At first, people didn't believe it. Some called it fake, others laughed. But then came the proof behind the scenes footage, testimonies from crew members, even audio files of strange frequency spikes from multiple sets. The video exploded across the internet. News channels picked it up. Social media went wild. Hashtags trended. People around the world started talking, not just about Keanu Reeves the actor, but Keanu Reeves the truth teller. Some were afraid, others were amazed, but many were inspired. And just as they expected, the people who had been hunting them came. Black SUVs arrived at the studio building. Armed men stepped out, moving fast, but this time, they weren't alone. A crowd had already gathered outside. Dozens of people, fans, reporters, even curious strangers stood with phones raised, filming everything. When the agents pushed forward, people shouted, "He's telling the truth!" and "Leave him alone." Eliza and Keanu stepped out from the building together. Holding hands, Luna in her carrier, one of the agents pointed toward them. But a reporter stood in his way. "You're on camera," she warned. "Make the wrong move, and the whole world will see it, love." The agents hesitated, then stepped back. They had lost control of the story. The world was watching now. Keanu looked at the crowd and said simply, "I just want to live in peace." Cheers broke out, cameras flashed, people shouted his name not as a star, but as someone brave enough to speak the truth. That night, they returned to the hills, but everything had changed. No more hiding, no more fear. The truth was out, and while danger still existed, they had done what many never dared face it head on. Eliza sat with Luna on her lap, watching Keanu chop wood for the fire. She smiled to herself, thinking of how far she had come. From a shy cat handler to someone who had stood beside a man carrying a secret, To someone who had chosen courage over silence, Keanu walked over and sat beside her. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. She nodded. "Yeah, I think I finally am." He looked into the sky, the stars shining bright above the trees. "You know, I used to wonder if this thing inside me was a curse." Eliza smiled. "Maybe it's a gift, just waiting for the right person to understand it." And in that quiet moment, surrounded by nature and truth, they knew they had made the right choice. The world still had questions, but for the first time, they were ready to listen, and Keanu wasn't alone anymore.